Hello everyone, welcome, we are here. This is the 2021 edition of my complete Blu-ray collection video. Can you believe it? We are here in 2021 and I've now decided this is going to be a yearly thing. One of the first videos of every year. I tend to do the Blu-ray collection video and usually I do it on my phone, handheld style, doing it like POV sort of thing, going through the shelf. I thought I'd change it up a little bit this year. It's the start of a brand new year, so let's do some new looking videos here on CM42 TV. So I'm going to go through each and every single film that I have in my Blu-ray collection, and I'll try not to spend too much time on each and every single one, but I will do my best and say a little piece about them and why I like them. And now, for those who are new and don't really know how I go about collecting Blu-rays and that sort of thing, I am a collector at heart. That is something I've always enjoyed doing. In this day and age, especially in 2021, especially in the new year, there are so many ways to watch films around the world, you know, whether it be on Netflix or Sky or Disney Plus and all these different streaming services. So I've kind of gone past the point of buying Blu-rays just for the sake of having them and just for the sake of watching them. I tend to watch a lot of things elsewhere, and if I really love the film, I will go straight onto Amazon or I'll go straight into HMV or something like that, and I will want to buy the DVD or the Blu-ray. I will want to own the film because I loved it so much in the collection. So this collection here is a bunch of films that I love, that I have rated really highly out of 10, or I've given 5 stars or 4 stars or more on Letterboxd or something like that, by the way. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, it's at CM42TV, as is my Twitter and my Instagram. So yeah, there is some films in here that I haven't seen before that I've just been, you know, I've just picked up here and there from like Poundland or used stores and that sort of thing. But the majority of the Blu-rays and the majority of the Blu-rays that I'll pick up going forward will be films that I really like to love and that I want to have in the collection, that I approve of and that I can show off to people and that sort of thing. That's kind of the point of the Blu-ray collection. So it's not this huge collection that's got thousands of films. It's a kind of small, kind of personal collection of all my favourite films. So I hope you guys enjoy. And because every year I start at the tippy top and I start at A and go through to Z, I'm going to change things up. Let's do it backwards. Let's start at the bottom of the alphabet, the bottom of the shelf, and let's start off with Z, or Z, depending on where you live geographically. First one then, if we're starting backwards, is Zootropolis. And here's a perfect example of a crossover, because it was a film that was in Poundland that I wanted to get, but I also adore the film. One of my favourite Disney films of the last 10 years. I love it so much. I've not rewatched it since getting it. I've seen it twice in my life. It was as soon as I came out the cinema in 2016, I think, when this came out. As soon as I came out the cinema in 2016, I said, I love that film. It's going into the CM42 TV classic movie collection. It needs a proper name. I like the classic collection, I think that's cool. Sticking with the Disney theme, we have Wreck-It Ralph. And I love Ralph Breaks the Internet. I had to actually check there to see if I had it, but I don't have it yet. So that's going to be one that's on my list and one that I want to watch. An extremely underrated Disney film is Wreck-It Ralph. And I think the second one is my preferred one of the Wreck-It Ralph films. I love them. Next up, Wonder Woman. I'm yet to see Wonder Woman 1984. I was really excited about it, and then I heard some mixed things, but I don't like doing that. I don't like not watching a film or just kind of like having a sour taste in my mouth of a film just because of what other people say. I really like to get my own opinions and that sort of thing, and as should everybody. First Steelbook to make an appearance. This is The Wolf of Wall Street. A great film, and as we all know, an amazing film and an amazing performance. Numerous amazing performances. I love this Steelbook. I don't think it's as great as everybody says it is, though. To me, it is a great film, but it's not the classic. I guess maybe it's a modern classic, but if you look at the greatest DiCaprio films or the greatest Scorsese films, I rate other films higher than this one. But the Blu-ray is really nice and the Steelbook's really nice. It's definitely a film that I would want in the collection, let's just put it that way, for a performance point of view. Next up, The Wolverine. I love this film, and I saw it in Poundland, and I was like, that's the sort of film that you love, and I'd be happy to own. Really cool slipcover, you know. Feels quite heavy actually. There's three discs in here, which goes 3D Blu-ray edition. Really cool one. Here we have Whiplash, an amazing film from 2014. Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons. A film that I have watched numerous times, and it is, you know, I like films that are light-hearted and like funny and upbeat and that sort of thing. This film is just so epic. It's like I can't not watch it and enjoy it. It's not the type of film I always go to just to put on, but for some reason I love it. I'm not even into like drumming and that sort of thing, but it's just such a great film. We have War of the Planet of the Apes. I kind of did a double take there because I have the other two for the trilogy, but I've put them alphabetically from Rise and Dawn, so they'll make an appearance later on. But this is one of the more recent additions that I talked about in I think my December Blu-ray collection update video on the channel. I saw this one in the cinema and it is epic. Another Poundland pickup with a cool slipcover. Telling you, if you get down to Poundland, you might find some gems. And there's films in there that I've never seen before that I would probably like, but there's only been a couple of occasions where I've been like, I'll just get that for the sake of it because it's Poundland. I really need to kind of, this is an example actually. In fact, no, I've seen this one before. This is War Dogs. Got this from Poundland. I've seen this film one time actually. I was watching it, I watched it like late December of the year it came out because I was making my top 10 of the year. And I thought this one could maybe make an appearance, but it didn't quite make the top 10. It kind of, I guess maybe the top 15 or 20, maybe 20. Next up we have Warrior. Really great film. I had this in the collection for ages because I just heard it was good. I think I heard that Kurt Angle was in it and I was like, okay, and then I was going through like a UFC phase and I just never was in the mood to watch like a boxing, mixed martial arts UFC film. And then I was told when I was in drama school one day that this is not about cage fighting, this is more about a family and, you know, the relationship between the brothers and the dad and that sort of thing. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a watch. And my God, great film. Totally blew me away. And that's a perfect description. It's not a typical martial arts film, it's about a family divided. Back to Disney, Wall-E. I have only seen this film one time in my life. And after that, I'm like, yep, this one has to be in the collection. Watched it a while ago too. And I love this Blu-ray. I believe I got this in CEX second hand. And it is in perfect condition. Both discs still there. And it just feels like a great Blu-ray. You know, good. It feels heavy. And it's just, I like the way, I like the look of the cover and that sort of thing. Very happy to have this in the collection and actually buzzing to check it out again, so maybe that's going to be on the watch list very soon. But this time of year is weird because I feel bad not watching films from like late last year that I missed, you know. I like to try and catch up. We moved from, it feels like there was loads of W's there, we go all the way to T, making a big jump here. One of my favourite films of all time, The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. I recently showed my sister this film for the very first time and we did a video about it here on CM42 TV about 2 or 3 months ago. And it was quite interesting because it's such an epic film and there's different layers to it. It was interesting getting her opinion. I love this film, one of my favourites of all time. And I'll say that a lot. I mean, you know, I said Zootropolis and Wreck-It Ralph and that sort of thing. They're some of my favourite Disney films of all time. But because of the way I collect the Blu-rays and I just want to have this massive collection of my favourite films, I'll have a bunch in here that I'm like, oh, this is one of my favourite films of all time. And this one, unfortunately, I can't talk about because I've not seen it yet. This is Tokyo Story. Got it for a $5. This is the DVD version. Out of FOP because I think I just watched Seven Samurai and I just watched Drunken Master and I was kind of in the mood for some Asian cinema, so I saw Tokyo Story for a $5 and it's always like, Tokyo Story is like a legendary Asian film that I guess people always talk about, so I wanted to see it. So there we go. This is a cool edition. This is Gregory Peck's To Kill a Mockingbird and this is the Digibook edition. Very cool edition of the Blu-ray here. You get the disc and then it comes with a nice booklet here in the Digibook, which is really cool. I've never seen this. I picked it up in CEX the longest time ago just because it was this special Digibook and it was in perfect condition and it was a good price and it's a film that I've always wanted to see. There's just the moments just never came up and other collectors will be with me there. You know, there's films in the collection that you're dying to watch, but if the right moment doesn't come up, it's ages until you see it. So yeah. One of my favourite films of the last 5 years or so, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I saw a thing on Facebook earlier today actually saying 3 billboards, like or dislike, and it was like a poll and like some people had actually said they disliked this film and I was like, I never thought about it like that before. How can you dislike 3 billboards? What an amazing film, and look at all the awards it won. Frances McDormand, Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell. Such a great film. I believe Walter Goggins is in this as well, who is an incredible actor. Big fan of Walter Goggins. Such a good film. Highly recommended. This one's brand new, still in the cellophane. This is The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. This was part of my Shocktober Arrow video unboxing in early November. On Halloween they had a sale, Arrow had a sale on some classic kind of horror sci-fi cult films, and I bought 4. And this is the first one to appear in today's video. And what I love about doing these videos now yearly is that some, that's what I was talking about like having the approved collection. Some of them go and I donate some of them to charity or give them to other people, and then there's loads that are added in and there's kind of like a transition process. But so if you go and watch the 2020 edition of this video, there'll be some films that or in that video that's not here, and vice versa. I don't know. One of my first steelbooks ever. This is Ted from Seth MacFarlane, Mila Kunis. Is Mila Kunis in this? Yeah. And Mark Wahlberg. Really cool steelbook, I think. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the film, but at the time when I got that, I was kind of like as a teenager, I really enjoyed the film. I was like, oh, it's a Family Guy in a film. This is Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro. This is the 40th anniversary. Yep, 40th anniversary. And I got this sheerly, I mean, I love the film, but I got this particular edition just for that slipcover. And that one of the coolest slipcovers you've ever seen. But I've not seen it in a long time, so I'm looking forward to getting back to it. I love that film. So, next up we have the Taken trilogy. I quite like when I enjoy like a trilogy or a series of films, if I can get them in a box set and have them all in the one set. Like I've got the Planet of the Apes films, but I've got them all individually. You know, I kind of like the idea of having the Taken trilogy, you know. But I love the Taken films. I watched them for the first time in 2019, I think. Great films. Next up we have Superbad. Said that weird. Superbad with Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. Such a good film. Michael Cera. Classic comedy. If you're ever in the mood just to laugh for an hour and a half straight, Superbad's great. But I must say I enjoyed it a lot more when I was a teenager, and that's probably obvious. One of my favourite comedies of all time, Step Brothers, Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly. This has got to be the film that is on TV the most. That's like just on like ITV2 on a Wednesday night at midnight. Like it's just randomly on all the time on all these different channels. Comedy Central, Channel 4, BBC One, ITV2. Like any channel that's looking for a funny film, put Step Brothers on. Now we're going into the Star Wars section. Let me just get all the Star Wars films, because we could be here a while. And I guess I'll do the Star Wars ones in order. So the first things first, we have the Star Wars set. I've shown this a million times. I got this on Christmas 2011, and I remember it vividly because I got it the year it came out, and I was shocked to get it. That's the original 6, the original saga, plus the 3 extra discs, which was like the crown jewel of my collection for so long. And then all hell broke loose, and we got, oh, all hell nearly broke loose in the video. Oh god, I nearly dropped on my Star Wars Blu-rays. All hell broke loose, and then we got all of these bad boys. So we have 2 copies of The Force Awakens, light side and dark side slipcovers, because this is my favourite one, and arguably my favourite movie of all time. Starting debates early. And I also have this edition of The Force Awakens. This is one of my favourite editions in my entire collection. This is the 3D edition, collector's edition, and it comes with it's a 3-disc set with all these special features, audio commentaries, and just a sheer really cool box set. Sometimes that's all you need as a collector. A really cool box set. Then you have Rogue One. Then we have The Last Jedi. Very cool. I love this edition. This is the Resistance slipcover. Love The Last Jedi. Then we have Solo, Star Wars Story. Really enjoyed this one too. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I think it's one of my guilty pleasures in terms of the whole Star Wars series. It's nowhere near like the top 5 or anything, but I prefer it to some of the other films. And then the most recent one we have The Rise of Skywalker. So yeah. Nice, that's also the Resistance sleeve. A couple more here in the first pile. This is only the first pile. I've not got too many piles. I've got 5 piles to go after this. No, 4, 2, 5 piles to go after this. Can't count to 5. Spaceballs. What else can you say about Spaceballs? A classic, Mel Brooks. Southpaw. This is a film that I watched when I was like trying to get into films a lot more a few years ago. Definitely over the last few years I've become a bit of a film buff, I guess, but like when I was first starting to become one, I was trying to watch all these films from like my favourite actors, and Jake Gyllenhaal was one of those people that I really became a big fan of, and Southpaw's always in like HMV on sale, and you can even find it cheaper in Poundland, so had to get it eventually. And then we have Source Code. Speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, this one was in Poundland as well recently, and I was just like, I was in one of those moods I just wanted to buy something, and then it's Jake Gyllenhaal. I was like, why the hell not? Continuing on in the S's, we have The Shawshank Redemption, one of the greatest films of all time, and it's creeping into my top favourite movies ever. Because I'll tell you something, I've been on a roller coaster with this film. It was at the point where I was like trying to think I knew everything. And then, you know, I'd watched that film for the first time and really enjoyed it, and then saw it was like #1 on IMDb's top 250, and I was like, no way that's the greatest film of all time. Then you watch it a few more times and you're like, okay, I guess so. Then we have The Shallows, definitely not one of the greatest films of all time, but I love shark movies. So, and that's a real sentence. And shark, don't even doubt the fact, don't kid on, you don't know that, you know. Shark movies is a thing, and people love them. And I love shark films, as we'll get on to very soon, I'm sure, when we get to the J portion of the thing. Big fan of shark films. Shallows is awesome. Then we have Seven Samurai, again one of the greatest films of all time. And I watched it for the first time, I believe, in late 2019. Akira Kurosawa, this is from the BFI and this is the DVD version. Because I got it just to see what I thought, and then I'm sure one day I will upgrade to Blu-ray. Next up, another recent pickup, this is Searching. Talked about this recently, I believe in my December Blu-ray collection update video. Got this in HMV for £3.49. Great deal. This is one of my favourite films of 2019, 18 or 19, whatever year it came out. It was one of my favourite films of that year. So underrated and so overlooked. And I kind of go into depth about why I loved it so much in the update video. Next we have Scarface. Got this for £4, obviously. Still not out the cellophane, but I believe I've had this for over a year. I believe that I just picked this up in the last year's complete collection video. And I've still not seen it, so looking forward to getting to it. But again, we've never had that moment. Here we have, ladies and gents, the Rush Hour Trilogy. One of my favourite movie trilogies of all time. And I'm so happy to have it. This is 6 discs in this, I believe. Maybe there's 4 discs, I can't remember. But I did something once where when I first got this for Christmas one year, over the next couple of days, I watched Rush Hour 1 and then watched the audio commentary of Rush Hour 1 with Brett Ratner, the director. Then I watched Rush Hour 2 and then watched Rush Hour 2 with the commentary. Then I watched Rush Hour 3 and then watched Rush Hour 3 again with the commentary. So I watched 6 times, you know, each film twice, one normally and one with the commentary. Such a good and cool movie watching experience. Next up we have, is this the first Criterion to pop up? It is indeed. This is the Royal Tenenbaums from Wes Anderson on Criterion Blu-ray, and such a funny, quirky film, and I think it's one of the films like sums up Wes Anderson the best. You know, you go this one, I'd go Grand Budapest Hotel and maybe Isle of Dogs in terms of like his style. And I should say I've not seen Rushmore and I've not seen Bottle Rocket, so I don't know, but like in terms of like his style and his like way of writing and way of comedy and way of filmmaking, this is a perfect example of his work. Here we have the Rocky Undisputed Trilogy. I just fell in love with these films all over again in 2019. 2019? No, we've just had 2020. In 2020, late 2020, I think it was October or something, I did a video ranking all of the Rocky films. I went through about 2 weeks of watching all the films, rewatching the films, in a kind of succession, as the last film I saw in the cinema before everything shut down for COVID back in September. The last film I saw was the first Rocky in the cinema. And I'd seen it before obviously, but I hadn't seen them properly back to back, you know, so it was so good having that set and just watching through them all and watching the extras and the interviews and totally falling in love with them. Here we have The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, my favourite of the Planet of the Apes films. Recently got this from Poundland. Very happy to have that in the collection. Here we have Reservoir Dogs, Tarantino's first film. An absolute classic from 1992. Not even going to bother going through the cast because it's so star-studded. Definitely an experience watching that for the first time. And talking about an experience watching for the first time, one of my favourite movies of all time. This is Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction from 1994. And again, we'll not be going through every name in the cast because we'd be here all day. So there you go. But we all know how good Pulp Fiction is, so yeah, one of my favourites of all time. Pineapple Express, this is a funny one because I watched this in 2014 when I got it, liked it, and said to myself that day, I'm going to enjoy that more on second viewing. I'm yet to have the second viewing. So I've not seen it in, that'll be 6 years, coming up for 7 years, so definitely due a rewatch. And I think ever since I've been doing these Blu-ray collection videos, every year, I'm like, Pineapple Express, due a rewatch. Pleasantville, one of the most underrated movies of all time, and creeping in, by the way, to my all-time list. Telling you that right now. Tobey Maguire, Jeff Daniels, Reese Witherspoon. Such a great film, so underrated, never talked about, but a classic. And speaking of classics and one of my favourites of all time, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. It's so funny, I almost never like hold this Blu-ray because every year I watch it around Christmas time, it's always on like Sky Movies, Sky Cinema, Christmas films, stuff like that. So I never need to use the actual Blu-ray, but it's like the perfect example of something that like is always on, but you have to own it, like Step Brothers. The only one that I really want that I don't have from this sort of thing is the Polar Express. Don't have Polar Express, one of my favourite movies of all time and one of my favourite Christmas films. But I would never use the Blu-ray because it's always on TV. But Planes and Trains, watched it about a week and a half ago, right before Christmas, and my God, still amazing. Here we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, one of my favourite films of 2019, and creeping into my favourite movies of all time list. I don't know, one of my favourite Tarantinos, that's for sure. This is a good one. This is Nocturnal Animals. Kind of forgot I had this. I've not seen this in a long time. Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams. What a great film this is. I've seen this film twice. Enjoyed it a lot more the first time, I must say, which is rare for me. I always enjoy films the second time, but what a film. Talk about Jake Gyllenhaal being just the best actor right now. So good. Can't recommend Nocturnal Animals enough. Here we have another one of my favourite movies of all time. No Country for Old Men. Javier Bardem, Tommy Lee Jones, Josh Brolin. Coen Brothers classic. Incredible. What do we have now? We have Non-Stop with Liam Neeson. Just a very fun action film. Just thinking about action films there, I need to get Die Hard. So I just watched Die Hard again for the third or fourth time this Christmas, and I think it's one of my favourite action movies ever. If not my favourite action movie ever. So, gotta get Die Hard. Then we have Network. This is a classic. I watched this for the first time on Netflix in my bed on my phone in like 2017. And it is not the way to watch this film. Definitely one of those sort of really tune in, and I guess it could be a good way to watch the film. You need to really tune in and pay attention to everything. It's just such a showcase of some great acting and filmmaking from back in the 80s or the 70s whenever this film was made. 1976, sorry. In the mid 60s, 70s. I'll get there eventually. But I love this edition. This is Arrow, and I always love the way Arrow do their films. I don't know many Arrow films when I get them, but I'm like, I just love the edition. Here's a perfect example. The Naked City. This is one that I literally only bought because I wanted an Arrow film and I liked the cover. And I really enjoyed it. Didn't love it, but definitely do a rewatch. You need to be in the mood for a film noir. But yeah, Naked City, really good. And oh my God, a film that has my heart forever. Moana. One of my favourite Disney films of all time. Top 5. Yeah. The best. Okay, next up we have Men in Black, a classic. I enjoy all the Men in Black films, but it's not going to focus, there we go. But the first one is of course the best, Tommy Lee Jones making another appearance in the video with Will Smith. Love the film. That film was #1 in the box office. I think, no it wasn't, that was the song Men in Black was the #1 song in the charts on the day I was born. Wee bit of trivia there. We have Metropolis. I believe this is my only Masters of Cinema release, and I'd like to kind of expand on them, but I just don't, I know so little about the films, you know. I don't really know where to start, but I guess this is a way to start. I just love this edition. I bought this from the BFI store in London in 2019, and I was there and I was just surrounded by all these classic films, and I was like, it would be a crime to leave here without getting something. And just look at that edition, look at that slipcover, so cool. Not watched it yet though, so I guess I'll get there eventually. Next up we have The Matrix, and I think this is a really good film. It is not as incredible as I was hoping it was going to be, because I saw this for the first time in the cinema in 2019, 18 maybe, and I just thought this film would have blown my mind in 1999 when it came out. But, you know, we're now in 2021, you know, we've seen it all, you know, so it doesn't quite hold up as well as others. Manchester by the Sea, one of my favourite movies of 2017. This came out right slap bang in the middle of my time in drama school, so it was very good because of the acting in this film and the filmmaking and just the depth and the strength of the acting. Totally blew me away, and I was talking about this film a lot when this film came out, and it's so sad and so dark but just so incredible. The performances are unreal. Gotta check it out, but not if you're in a joyful mood. If you're in the mood for some good acting, Ugh. Check out Manchester by the Sea. We have The Man with No Name trilogy, Clint Eastwood. I'm yet to watch any of these, but I saw it in FOP, I believe, for like £7. And I was just in a westerns mood, and I was like, classic films, westerns, never seen them before, Clint Eastwood, £7. Can't go wrong with that. So still will be watched. Lady Bird, one of my favourite movies of 2018, I believe it came out in. And just an incredible film, and it is, you know, creeping up there into one of my favourite movies ever. I think my favourite actress in the world right now is Saoirse Ronan, and she is unbelievable in this film. Love that one. So one of my dearest ones in my collection. Speaking of dearest films, La La Land. Oh my god, I love La La Land. This film is incredible. Look at the artwork as well, man. So good. Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, two of my faves. Just, I mean, I was just in awe watching it. I was just like, my god, this is the greatest. But you know, maybe not as amazing as everyone says it was, and sometimes that hurts the film. And now people roll their eyes when they think of La La Land, and that's a shame because it doesn't deserve that at all. Here we have Knocked Up. Haven't seen this before. I got this in Poundland, as you see, for £2. Explain to me how that makes sense, I know. But yeah, I talked about this in my most recent, I think, Blu-ray collection update, basically saying, you know, as we come up to the new year and that sort of thing, I'll be looking to be watching and expanding my film watching. If I'm ever in the mood for a comedy, I'll throw on Knocked Up. Here we have Knives Out, one of my favourite films of 2019, from Ryan Johnson, on sale in HMV for £7.99, an incredible deal, and look at that cast, unbelievable. Talked about it very recently again, I think in the December update, so go check out that video if you can. Next up we have the Kill Bill films, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. When I first watched them, I think I preferred the second one. Then when I rewatched them, I preferred the first one. So maybe when I watch them again, then I'll give you a definitive review and we can talk about Kill Bill in more detail. But I did a whole podcast about them back in 2017. Episode 18, I think, maybe 22. I can't remember, of the Good Bit podcast, which, by the way, I'm hearing rumours could be coming back very soon. Kick-Ass is on my to-watch list like mad. I've watched it one time back in 2010, not watched it since. It was in Poundland for £1, obviously, or £2. So I was like, I'll get it, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so it's on my list, very near the top of my list of ones I want to watch the most. I mentioned earlier my love for shark films. Here it is, the ultimate. Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3 and Jaws the Revenge. I adore these films, especially the first one. In my top 3 favourite movies of all time. I have watched, I think it's the film I've watched the most in my life. It's just the best. And then I love the sequels too. I love the sequels, they're all guilty pleasures of mine. I don't think Jaws 3 is anywhere near as bad as people say it is. The amount of slack Jaws 3 gets. And understandably for some parts of the film, but it's not a total write-off. Just like the idea. Here's my most recent Blu-ray pickup. This was in my Christmas haul video a couple of days ago. This is the entire James Bond set. The James Bond collection, all 24 Bond films from Dr. No all the way to Spectre, and then after I eventually see No Time to Die when it is released, then that'll be added to the collection as well, I'm sure. Even if I don't like it, I'll need to get it just to complete the collection. Here we have Jackie Brown. I think it is an underrated film and an underrated Tarantino for sure. Very good film. Not as amazing as I remembered it being when I rewatched it in 2020. I watched it in lockdown, I watched it in like May 2020. Great film, but not totally blow away like I remember it, but it's fine. Mentioned this earlier, Isle of Dogs, Wes Anderson's most recent film, and a great representation again of his style of films, especially in terms of the animation for this, and of course Fantastic Mr. Fox and any other animation film that he's done. But yeah, Isle of Dogs, an amazing cast. Such a quirky, fun film. I loved. One of my favourite cinema experiences I actually seen that one, not just because of the beautiful pictures, but I was with my mates who hadn't really seen Wes Anderson's films before, and I was like, wait to see this. Here we have Inside Out, one of my favourite Disney films, but not seen it in 4 years. So definitely due a rewatch as well. Got so much heart, that film, so much heart. Here we have Inkheart. Never seen this before. This was in Poundland, and this is a DVD by the way. Got this from Poundland. Will that focus ever? My god, please focus. And my sister just about freaked out when she saw this. So she's like, we have to get it, we have to get it. So I have no idea what to expect, but she seems to love it. So Fine. Inglourious Bastards, amazing film. Maybe one of Tarantino's top 5 best, top 3 best, I don't know. Great film, another incredible cast in there. Here we have Home Alone 1 and 2. Just watched both of them about a week and a half ago, obviously, for Christmas time. And I still think Home Alone 1 is the better film, but Home Alone 2 is the more Christmassy of the films. I think, anyway. Here we have Hot Fuzz, part of the Spaghetti Western trilogy. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. And this is another classic from Poundland, I believe. Number of years ago. Here we have High School Musical 3. I am absolutely heartbroken that High School Musical 1 and 2 are not on Blu-ray. If they are somewhere in the world, if someone can let me know, because I will pay top dollar. I do want those films in my collection because they're some of my favourite and most beloved musicals and just films in general. I could watch it every day of the week, twice on Sunday, and not get bored. Here we have Hercules. Not, you know, the most amazing blow-away film. However, I have this hunch to have a Dwayne Johnson, a rock collection. And this was in Poundland as well for £2, so it's one of those films. For the collection, I'll allow the fact that it's not the greatest just because it's one of The Rock's films. Hell or High Water, an extremely underrated film. I saw this in the cinema in 2016. It was one of the first films that myself and R&D reviewed on the Good Bit podcast. And did I mention the Good Bit again? I'm hearing rumours. Hearing rumours that wrestling is not the only thing I'll be talking about on my podcast very soon. Here we have Heathers. I've never seen this film before, but as I talked about in my Shocktober unboxing back in early November, this is one of the films I picked up in the Arrow sale, and I was like, you know what, let's get it. I've heard it's great. I love the artwork. It was a must buy in terms of that sale. Here we have The Hateful Eight, my number 2 favourite Tarantino film of all time. However, Once Upon a Time is really coming close to beating that, I'm not going to lie. But again, an amazing cast. And one of my favourite, if not my favourite cinema viewing experience of all time, or at least top 3 anyway. Just the best. Here's something that pops up in the channel all the time. This is that Harry Potter set, the spellbinding world of Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts 10 film collection from Philosopher's Stone all the way to Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then of course the 2 Fantastic Beasts films. I'll have to obviously buy the 3rd one when it comes out, but yeah, a classic set that I think everybody, the Harry Potter films, the Star Wars films, and other sets like that, I just feel like are films that everybody should maybe have, I don't know. And that I'm kind of slacking there because I don't have big box sets like the Indiana Jones set or the Jurassic Park set, but I think films like that, people should just always own in their house at some point. Hairspray, one of my favourite musicals of all time, got a big soft spot for this one. One of the first shows I was ever involved in as an actor was a production of Hairspray, and I had literally the time of my life and fell in love with performing. That's how big of a deal Hairspray is to my life. Here we have Green Book, my favourite film. Was it my number 1 of 2018? Couldn't be my number 1, but it was my top 3 of 2018, and I was very, very happy this won the Oscar for Best Picture in 2019. Just an incredible film. Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, just the best. And I rewatched. Did I rewatch in lockdown? I might have done. I think so. I think I watched it recently, and it's amazing. Here we have my favourite Wes Anderson film. This is The Grand Budapest Hotel. And if you checked out my Christmas haul video, you would have seen that I got a book that's called Accidentally Wes Anderson, and it's like locations around the world that look like, they just happen to look like and accidentally look like something from a Wes Anderson film. There is literally a hotel that looks like the Grand Budapest that he had to have gotten inspiration for. It's a carbon copy. But yeah, one of my favourite films just to kind of put on and let go in the background is The Grand Budapest. Here we have Grown Ups. I think it's an extremely underrated family film. People just hate on it because it's like it has no story or character development, and I'm like, what are you watching Grown Ups for if you're wanting character development and great writing? You're asking for trouble there. Greatest Showman. This was on TV yesterday when we were having our dinner, and I just forget how great the scenes are and how great the songs are. Unbelievable film, and gets unnecessary hate, just again because it's a wee bit messy. I don't know. Going in Style, picked this one up recently as well, I believe in my either November or December update. But such a fun film, really underrated, and actually one of my favourites of 2017 or whatever it came out, 2017. Total like runaway, like, God, that film was great, and it's just such a random film for that kind of that kind of acclaim. Here we have The Game. I got mixed up with this earlier on with Men in Black, because this was the film that was in the box office on the day I was born. The Game. But I've not seen it yet. Here we have The Florida Project, an extremely underrated film, and I love the idea of this film. Something quite magical about it. Maybe it is just because it's Florida, I don't know, but something really like sad but really interesting about it. And if you've seen it, you'll know what I mean. You know, just just with a kid's imagination, you know what I mean? When a kid doesn't know something and then like it is revealed to them what it is. That sounds quite creepy, but I'm talking about Disney World more than anything, but I don't know, I just think it's a great film, it's a genius. Here we have Ferris Bueller's Day Off, obviously on sale for $3.99, a great deal. One of the best 80s films, and one of my favourite 80s films. And this was on recently, earlier this year I believe, and I just happened to walk into the living room and they were watching it next door, and I was like, I'm going to sit down and watch the rest of Ferris Bueller's. It's that kind of film. And here we have Fighting With My Family. Such a soft spot for this film, obviously, for obvious reasons, but the fact they did such a good job, you know, painting wrestling in a good light, and it's an interesting film, and it's a funny film, and a happy film, and people, all age groups and stuff like that, liked it and could connect with it, and it didn't matter the fact it was wrestling, everybody enjoyed it, and I thought that was a good thing, you know. Here we have Fight Club. I make the joke every year, even though it's in this video, we can't talk about it, and am I going to make that joke again? Yes, I am. But I watched it again in lockdown and forgot how great it was. Great film. The Fast and the Furious original film. I was on a kind of kick of watching all the Fast films, and I got up to Fast and Furious 8 and stopped. No, Fast and Furious 5, sorry. There is 8 films. I got up to Fast 5 and I stopped. I've not gone back to them, so maybe, you know, I'll watch the first one again when I get that feeling. I like the first one a lot, actually. I think the first one was really good. Fargo, Coen Brothers film, really good film. Quite underrated, I'd say. I know they made that Netflix show about it, which I'm yet to see, but I heard it was good. But the film is obviously where it all started, so very happy that that's in the collection. Here we have Fantastic Four. This was in Poundland, and it was a childhood kind of favourite, so I had to buy it. I love that cover more than this cover, but the slipcover's cool, so. Fantastic Four, always a belter. Here we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. One of my favourite movies of all time, need I say more? Kate Winslet, Jim Carrey. Oh, my God. My God. Here we have E.T. This was randomly on recently, about 2 or 3 months ago. And I think I just woke up one morning, came downstairs, was eating my breakfast, it was on. Just watched E.T. That type of film. And those Spielberg classics are like that, I think. Here we have Enter the Dragon. I love this film. This is a perfect example of what I want to do with this Blu-ray collection. I watched this on Sky and I immediately went to Amazon and bought a copy. Well, in fact, I immediately went to the actual store. I actually went to HMV in person and bought it because I loved it so much. Great film. Here we have another example of the Dwayne Johnson collection. This is Empire State. Not the greatest film in the world. I have seen it before, but I saw it in Poundland and I was like, it's part of the Rock collection, man. Got to do it. Just smiling. Because smiling is my favourite. Elf. Watched it a couple of days ago on Christmas Eve. Just the best. Makes me feel so Christmassy. Obviously the music and the... Can't beat Elf. Here we have Easy Rider. Now this is an interesting one. So I picked up Easy Rider about 1.5 years ago because I wanted to get a Criterion. I thought I was going to watch it and I love the artwork. You know, you have that moment where you're just in the mood to buy something, you're just in the mood to buy a certain thing. Just wanted a Criterion Blu-ray. And never watched it. And then I watched it a couple months ago and I loved it. My God, it's one of those ones where it's like, okay, I need to watch something in my collection. Picked it out the shelf and totally connected with it. I didn't understand the hype and I was like, what's happening in this film? And when you look into it, it's like a snapshot of life in America in the 60s, and I guess I'll make a video talking about it, but I think I was going to make a video talking about it, but I was like, I have no like prior knowledge to the 60s, like what am I going to say about the 60s, you know? But whatever. Dumb and Dumber, a really classic fun comedy, can't go wrong with Dumb and Dumber. I actually heard that this Blu-ray is quite rare nowadays, so kind of happy I have that in the collection. Here we have Drunken Master, and The Legend of Drunken Master. 2 great Jackie Chan films. Jackie Chan, one of my favourite actors of all time. And it's just any film that he pops up in, I'm going to happily watch. This is where I start losing subscribers. Here's Drive, that I said for the longest time I've never seen. Saw this edition HMV because it looked so cool with a slipcover. Ugh. And I just thought, okay, then this is going to be the time I'm going to watch it. I bought it to watch it, and I'm still to watch it. Dying to check it out, man. Love a bit of Ryan Gosling. Talking about Jackie Chan, we have Dragon Fist. Not seen this one either, but it just looked so awesome, and it was on sale in FOP. And it's Jackie Chan. This is the limited edition slipcase. Will that focus? There we go. Looking forward to checking Dragon Fist out as well. And here we have Donnie Darko. Awesome film. Quite confusing, and more confusing than I expected, but this was in the Shocktober sale too. Such a cool what a cool edition. What a cool cover. Definitely deserves a rewatch as well, and I'm talking like a rewatch soon, because I watched it for the first time a couple months ago. Already due a rewatch. Django. Rewatched this in early summertime, I believe, back in lockdown, and I did a video about it. I did a video talking about my rewatch of this one. I believe I was going to start a movie marathon that never came to fruition, so I just released those reviews individually, so check out my Django rewatch vlog. I loved Django. Here's Detroit, one of my favourite movies of 2018 or 2017, 2017 this film came out, and I was like, oh, it's the new John Boyega film, because he was the new hero because of Star Wars, and it was incredible. Oh, Detroit was awesome. Here we have Deadpool, one of my favourite superhero films. I used to read the Deadpool comics when I was a wee boy. Not a wee boy, when I was a teenager. So when the film came out, it was a big deal to me. And I really enjoyed it. It's not the greatest though. I think I rewatched it and I was like, this isn't as good as everyone says it is. Dazed and Confused. Richard Linklater is one of my favourite filmmakers. And when I saw this was on sale on HMV for $3.99, that's the sort of deal that you need to jump on. But I've never seen it, so I'm looking forward to getting to it soon. As I say, he's one of my favourite filmmakers, so it's definitely one we need to get to very, very soon. Here's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This is a weird order that I showed these in, but we're doing it alphabetically, backwards. But great film too. I think this is my second favourite Planet of the Apes film. Thought Dawn was great. And here we have The Dark Knight Rises Steelbook. This has been a part of my collection for now 9 years. Can you believe it? Since the year it came out in 2012. Just incredible. It will just never like go away from my collection. You know, and I actually prefer The Dark Knight, but I love The Dark Knight Rises. Who couldn't, you know, enjoy that Steelbook edition, so. And speaking of The Dark Knight, here it is here. This was the very first Blu-ray I ever got back in 2008. I got it for my Christmas in 2008. And I was like, wow, this is the first Blu-ray I ever got. Buzzing. And now look what's happened. Look at that cool effect with the light, isn't it? I don't have Batman Begins, and now I'm talking about Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight itself. I'm kind of wishing I had Batman Begins, so maybe tonight I'll do a wee eBay browse and try and find Batman Begins for a good price. Here's Crazy Stupid Love, a film a lot like Batman Begins. So underrated, man. I watched this for the first time on an airplane on my way to Orlando in 2018. And my sister was like, you should watch Crazy Stupid Love, it's on the plane. And I was like, no, I'm not watching Crazy Stupid Love on the plane, you're joking. And as I watched it, she watched me to see my reaction. And in that moment I knew I should do a reaction channel on YouTube. That's not true, but she was just hoping to see, I mean, all the plot twists in that film. Such a guilty pleasure. Here we have The Condemned with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I love this film actually. Wee guilty pleasure of mine as well, I think. I think it's because when this came out I was too young to see it and I really wanted to. So now it's like a wee sort of guilty pleasure that I have. Like, oh, I can finally watch The Condemned because I'm over 18 now. Here we have Casino, a classic. I mean, what can I say about this film that's not already been said? An incredible gangster film. Here we have Clash. The only reason I bought this is because I saw it in Poundland and I was like, oh cool, it's an Arrow Academy film and cool slip cover, £2. Oh, I'll get it. But I have no idea what to expect. If anybody has heard of it ever, let me know. Because I have no idea what to expect. Here we have Chappie, which I showed someone this once and they were like, oh my god, you've got Chappie? And I was like, yeah, I've never seen it before. I got it in Poundland and I don't really know why I still got it. But it's Dev Patel and Hugh Jackman, so it can't be that bad. I've heard it's good though, I've heard it's a lot of fun. I've just never seen it. So, Central Intelligence, another one part of the Rock collection, but also a film I really like. I thought this film was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Like, I was so laughing. And when that's the case, then it's a keeper. Christmas Vacation. I actually didn't watch this year. It was on Christmas Day, I believe, when we were like sitting waiting for family and waiting for dinner and that sort of thing. It was on TV. but I didn't like sit down to watch it this year. It's not like one of my top 5 favourite Christmas films, but it's such a classic. It's like one of those ones you have to kind of always watch and check out. Here you have The Cable Guy. I got this film when HMV were going through their problems like last year, and they had a big sale on. I say last year, I mean like 2019, so I got this in the HMV sale for £3.49. Good deal, classic Jim Carrey film. Here we have Boyhood. Definitely in my top 25, 30 favourite movies ever. Another Richard Linklater film. I nearly said Richard Linklater, which would just be ridiculous. But yeah, amazing film. So many parts of that film I could relate to, but on like a smaller degree. And then like the really big issues I couldn't relate to, but it was also when I was just leaving high school and going to college. So it was also like, it hit me right in the feels sort of thing. Here we have the Bourne, the Classified Collection. My God, what a great set this is. I love the Bourne films. My favourite Bourne film right now, I've not seen them in a couple of years, but I'd probably go with Ultimatum. Really cool set actually. Bourne Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum, Bourne Legacy, and then the bonus disc, and then Jason Bourne itself. So a really cool set. I'd probably go with Ultimatum, but I think I'll do a rewatch of these maybe in 2021, and then I'll do a ranking of them on the channel like I did with Rocky. Here we have Bottle Rocket. As I said earlier on, a Wes Anderson film that I've never seen before, but I do have in the collection. Got it from FOP for 10 quid. And I love the artwork. I think it looks really cool. Director approved. We're in luck, everybody. Director approved. Looking forward to checking it out eventually. Here we have Borat. One of my favourite comedies of all time. And I loved the sequel. Did I love the sequel? I liked the sequel. But nothing's going to beat the first one. Ever. For obvious reasons. Here we have Bohemian Rhapsody. One of my favourite films of 2018. Such a classic. And the last 45 minutes of this film were just some of the most unbelievable filmmaking I've ever seen, and I literally thought I was going to pass out watching it. Here we have Blazing Saddles, classic Mel Brooks comedy. Not seen in a long time, and I think it's definitely due a rewatch, because I think I watched it for the first time in like 2015 or something, and I've found it hilarious, but now I just think I'd lose it every minute, you know. Birdman, great film, again one of my favourites of 2014. Michael Keaton, Emma Stone, Zach Galifianakis, Edward Norton, Amy Ryan, Naomi Watts. God, what a cast. Definitely worth a rewatch as well. Going through these, I did a video, I think early 2020 maybe, basically saying like, here are all the films in my collection that I haven't seen yet, and there was so many classics, but I can happily announce that I've worked through that, and here's a perfect example. Big Trouble in Little China, I finally got to them and enjoyed them. Really enjoyed Big Trouble, thought it was a lot of fun. And then I went to watch the director commentary after it, and didn't finish it with the director commentary, so maybe I'll go back and try and fully watch the commentary version of Big Trouble in Little China, but a great film. Here we have The Big Lebowski. Wasn't a fan of this film at first. I can't believe I'm saying that, and then I saw it in like a cinema-like environment, and I was like, that's a 10 out of 10 if there ever was one, you know. And here we have the Before Trilogy Criterion set, one of my pride and joys of my collection. Such an amazing, beautiful set, beautiful films. Not seen them in a while, I must say, so definitely ones to get back to very soon. Okay, home stretch here. We have Batman from 1989, Tim Burton film, love it. Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, the classic Batman quadrilogy, is that the right word? The 4 Batman films from Tim Burton from the 80s and 90s. I enjoy them all. I think the first one's a great film. Not seen the other ones in a long time, but I do know I enjoy them all. So that's all that matters. Here we have Bad Times at the El Royale. I loved this film when I saw it for the first time. I've not seen it since, so 2018 this film came out, so it's definitely a rewatch on the cards. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but it's true. 2020, I came even more connected to these films. Back to the Future on Steelbook. Then Back to the Future Part 2 and Back to the Future Part 3. I saw the first one in the cinema in like August, and then went on a bit of a Back to the Future kick, and I was rewatching it, and then I watched the other 2, and it was the first time I saw the third one, and I didn't enjoy it as much, but I think the second one's great, and I think Back to the Future is in my top 5 favourite movies of all time. And I think it's like one of the best movies ever made either. Here's Baby Driver. Probably one of my favourites of the last 10 years. Great film, Edgar Wright. Great soundtrack, great performances. Just, oh, what a film. And look at the artwork as well, comic book style. Jamie Foxx is so good in that film. Here we have Argo. This is from Poundland and I have not watched it yet, even though it is one of the best pictures from 2012, 2013, something like that. So I think when I heard that, it was always kind of on my radar to check out Argo. And now that I have it in my collection, I've still never watched it. I get kind of frustrated with myself sometimes. Here are the two Avengers Infinity War and Endgame films. Two absolute classics and two achievements in filmmaking. I don't care what anybody says. Here's Infinity War. And there is Endgame. Incredible. Endgame being my film of the year, 2019. Infinity War was in my top 5 of 2018. Here's another brand new one, The Apartment. This was also from the Arrow Video Shocktober sale. Looking forward to checking it out. Heard some good things. I love Arrow's presentation of the films. And when you put it in as well with like the menu and stuff. So cool. Here we have Anchorman. And Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. The only reason I still have this is because it's the sequel, you know what I mean? Like, I don't love the sequel. First one's the classic, you know, so. But definitely, again, two ones that are due a rewatch. Here we have American Hustle. A perfect example of going into Poundland and saying, I'm not buying anything I've not seen except American Hustle. Never seen it, got it in Poundland, got it recently, still to check out, and I will watch it in 2021 because I am very curious. Here we have American Beauty. An amazing film, one of my favourite films of the 90s. This one, Best Picture? Yeah, Best Picture in 1999. And rightfully so, just an amazing film. Here we have the Alien films. This is what I was talking about, like the Harry Potter set, and the James Bond set, and the Star Wars set. It's good to have all the films in the one place. You know, it just feels a bit more complete. And I love this set, so it's good to have all the Alien films. I like them all. I've never seen the fourth one actually, but I like them all from what I've seen before. And here we have the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection, another example of just having them all in the one place. A box set of all of the one sort of same thing, same genre, same director, same actor. I'm all for that. So I might expand on that in 2021 in terms of getting things like that. But here's the Hitchcock set, one of my favourite and most beloved parts of my entire collection. 14 films, I got it 2 years ago, and I'm still not finished the set. There's that much stuff. And it's because, you know, you have to kind of be in the mood, especially for a Hitchcock film. There's lots of like dialogue and lots of suspense and that sort of thing. So when you're in the mood, it's great to watch them. But I'm more than halfway through. I think I've got about 4 to go or something. So I think I'm at the birds. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. Here we have Airplane, my favourite comedy of all time, and I think the funniest movie ever made. So and I like the second one, not as much obviously, but I'd like to get the second one at some point. Here we have A Star Is Born. Great film from 2018. 2018? 2019? 2018. Yeah, 2018. Great film. Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga. Deserves a rewatch as well. Buzzing to check that out again. And last but not least, ladies and gents, 12 Angry Men on Criterion. Such a cool cover, artwork and that sort of thing there. I watched this film for the first time on my phone in my bed also. And had a great time, great experience with that one. So there you have it, there are all of my Blu-rays in my collection, all of the films in my collection. I'm very proud of the collection because it's not this excessive, like I'm just buying stuff for the sake of it. There's a couple of films, and quite a few films, that I've got in there that I did just buy in Poundland because they were so cheap. But the ones that I really want to watch, and ones I really fancy, and then if I don't like them, it's fine. I went through a lot of that in 2020. Like I watched a bunch of the ones that I hadn't seen in a while or I hadn't seen before, didn't love them, and gave them to charity, and then cleared up space for new stuff. And I got that Shocktober stuff, which I've not seen them all yet. So maybe when I don't like those films, I can sort of make a switch there as well. I don't know. So next year, 2022, when I do this video again, will this be the same as this year? What will change? What will be added? What will be removed? Find out next year. And if you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments what you thought, what your favourite film in my collection is, what I should watch next, that sort of thing. Let me know in the comments. Please share this video, spread the word on social media. You can get me on Twitter and Instagram at CM42TV, and you can follow me on Letterboxd, also at CM42TV as well. And my movie podcast, The Good Bit, which went for a number of years, which is kind of on the shelf right now due to COVID, is rumoured to be returning. very, very soon. We're working on it, so looking forward to chatting about some more films, not only on the channel but in the podcast world. So until next time, thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all next time.